When you walk in a park or a forest, especially on grass and leaves, you rarely look under your feet very carefully. Buddhists carefully walk along the streets, gently sweeping in front of them so as not to accidentally step on even a small insect and accidentally crush it. You can think that nowadays that sounds a little strange, but today we will tell you the story of one very amazing creature that managed to survive thanks to a dog's sense of smell, the attention of their owner, and the caring attitude of zoo staff. A person would hardly be able to find or distinguish this tiny creature, but on that day, this living being was lucky. It happened in Australia. In the morning, a man, as usual, went out for a walk with his dogs. They often walked in the park, played, and ran. As their walk was coming to an end, one of the dogs smelled something in the grass and started barking loudly. The others ran up to it and started sniffing as well. The owner of the dogs hurried to see what was so interesting for his four-legged friends. Coming closer, he could not see anything and withdrew the dogs, but his pets returned to the same place again and began to stare at their master as if attracting his attention. Then he returned and began to rake the grass and foliage with his hands in order to find what his dogs so diligently wanted to show him. What was his surprise when he saw this strange little creature on the ground? It was bald, with his eyes still closed, but warm and therefore alive. He gently took it in his arms and began to look at it. The baby was no bigger than a finger. He moved his paws a little and was clearly looking for mom and for food, poking his nose in the air. The man had never seen anything like it before. He carefully wrapped it in a napkin and without wasting a minute went to the nearby zoo to show his find. Upon arrival, he carefully unfolded the napkin to show the zookeeper. The baby was still alive. The zoo worker immediately realized what was happening and led the man with the unknown creature with him. They entered the medical sector where they were met by a local veterinarian. He carefully took the baby and placed it in a warm box. Then he fed the baby with a special bottle. He ate greedily as he had apparently been hungry for some time. All this time, the man who found the creature was sitting quietly nearby and watching. He later asked the veterinarian what it was. It turned out that it was a baby of a pygmy flying possum, very common in local areas, but due to its size, often invisible to the human eye. These animals are marsupials, like kangaroos. That is, babies are born underdeveloped and then grow up and gain strength in their mother's pouch. However, this baby was not so lucky and probably fell out of his familiar place during the mother's jump. Usually they come out at night to hunt, but nursing mothers also do it during the day. Most likely, the mother of this baby decided to eat something in the morning and left her nest. Only this fact saved the little one. If it had fallen out of his mother's pouch at night, then most likely he would not have survived until morning. At the zoo, the baby was placed in a special incubator in which it was nursed until it was completely independent. They named him Boop. He got stronger very quickly, and the zoo management decided to return him to the wild. So, thanks to the well-coordinated work of attentive dogs, the man who was not indifferent to someone else's misfortune, and the professionalism of the zoo workers, little Boop was saved. Now he is grown up and is waiting to be moved to the wild Australian forest. The zoo is very famous for its care of wild animals. Recently, one more story became known all over the world about how 28 little fox babies were rescued and nurtured there. They were also returned to their natural habitat as soon as they grew up and got stronger. This zoo does not refuse help to anyone, whether it is the world's smallest pygmy flying possum or a huge alligator. After all, everyone in this world has the right to life and to care. That is why many specialists work here every day, saving lives. It is especially important that after a full recovery, animals are again sent to their natural habitat, hoping for a long and happy life in nature where they belong. Boop's rescuer often visits his foundling at the zoo. He even thought about taking him to his house because pygmy flying possums can be perfectly tamed and can live in captivity for up to 7 years. But after thinking about it, he nevertheless decided that the baby would be more comfortable in the forest where he belonged. Here is such an amazing story of saving a small living creature that happened in Australia. How lucky Boop was that on that day he was found and not left without help.